Arthur, a meticulous man in his late 40s, was a staunch believer in popular health myths, especially concerning his blood pressure. He meticulously avoided salt, believing it to be the sole culprit behind his creeping hypertension, and diligently consumed garlic supplements, convinced they were a miracle cure. His daily routine was a rigid adherence to these self-imposed rules, often leading to bland meals and a constant underlying anxiety about his health. Arthur had always prided himself on his discipline, a trait that usually served him well. But when it came to his health, this very discipline had become a gilded cage. Every morning, he'd measure his blood pressure, a ritual fraught with tension. The numbers on the digital display felt like a personal judgment, a score he was failing. He'd meticulously log them in a small, leather-bound journal, each entry a testament to his unwavering yet seemingly ineffective effort. His kitchen, once a place of culinary exploration, had transformed into a sterile laboratory. Spices were used sparingly, if at all, and every ingredient was scrutinized for its sodium content. Meals became a chore, joyless and repetitive. He missed the vibrant flavors of his youth, the occasional indulgence in a salty snack. But fear, a cold, persistent whisper, kept him on his strict path. He'd read countless articles, mostly online forums and anecdotal blogs, reinforcing his conviction that salt was the enemy and garlic the savior. He'd even tried various exotic teas, each promising miraculous reductions in blood pressure. Yet, despite his efforts, his blood pressure readings remained stubbornly high, causing him increasing frustration and a growing sense of helplessness. He felt he was doing everything right, following all the advice he could find. But his body refused to cooperate, a betrayal he couldn't comprehend. The constant worry gnawed at him, affecting his sleep and his mood. He'd lie awake, replaying the day's readings, wondering what more he could possibly do. Was he destined for a life of medication? A prospect he dreaded more than anything? The thought of daily pills, a constant reminder of his body's perceived failure, filled him with a profound sense of defeat. He yearned for a solution, a genuine breakthrough, but felt trapped in a cycle of ineffective rituals. One particularly disheartening morning, after another disappointing reading, Arthur decided he couldn't continue this solitary battle. He needed professional help, a voice of authority beyond the internet's echo chamber. He booked an appointment with Dr. Aris Thorne, a renowned cardiologist known for his holistic approach. The waiting room was surprisingly calm, a stark contrast to Arthur's internal turmoil. When Dr. Thorne finally called his name, Arthur felt a flicker of hope. Dr. Thorne, a man with kind eyes and a reassuring demeanor, listened patiently to Arthur's detailed account. Arthur laid out his meticulous diet, his garlic regimen, his salt phobia, and his daily blood pressure logs. He spoke of his frustration, his fear, and the relentless anxiety that had become his constant companion. The doctor nodded, occasionally interjecting with a thoughtful hum, but offered no immediate judgment. After Arthur finished, a heavy silence filled the room. Dr. Thorne leaned forward, his expression gentle but firm. "Arthur," he began, "you've been incredibly diligent, and your commitment to health is commendable." Arthur braced himself for the usual advice, perhaps a stronger medication. But what came next surprised him. "However," Dr. Thorne continued, "your understanding of hypertension, while common, is incomplete." He explained that while sodium played a role, it wasn't the sole villain. He spoke of a complex interplay of factors: genetics, stress, sleep, and even gut health. And garlic, while beneficial, isn't a magic bullet for blood pressure," he added with a soft smile. Arthur felt a mix of relief and confusion. All his efforts, all his sacrifices had been based on an incomplete picture. The doctor then introduced him to the concept of the body's intricate regulatory systems, explaining how stress, hormones, inflammation, and even the microbiome could influence blood pressure. He emphasized the importance of a balanced approach, not just focusing on one or two isolated factors. "We need to look at the whole picture, Arthur," Dr. Thorne concluded, "not just the symptoms." He suggested a series of tests, far more comprehensive than Arthur had ever undergone. He also recommended a shift in mindset, moving from fear-driven restriction to mindful nourishment. Arthur left the office with a new perspective, a sense of cautious optimism replacing his old despair. The path ahead seemed clearer, less about rigid rules and more about understanding his body. He still had a journey, but now he had a true guide. Despite his rigid adherence to self-imposed rules and constant anxiety, Arthur's blood pressure readings remained stubbornly high. His frustration mounted, and the dread of lifelong medication loomed large. Driven by these persistent high readings and a doctor's firm recommendation, Arthur reluctantly sought a consultation. He made an appointment with a renowned cardiologist, a specialist known for her holistic approach. The waiting room felt sterile, the air thick with unspoken worries, a palpable tension. Arthur clutched his referral letter, his palms slightly sweaty, his heart pounding a little faster. Finally, his name was called, and he stepped into a bright, welcoming office, surprisingly devoid of clinical coldness. Dr. Eleanor Vance, with kind eyes and a reassuring smile, greeted him warmly, immediately putting him at ease. During their first meeting, Dr. Vance listened patiently as Arthur recounted his meticulous routines. He spoke of his salt-free diet, his garlic supplements, his unwavering belief in these practices. She nodded, understanding, but then gently began to debunk his long-held beliefs, one by one. "Arthur," she started, her voice calm and clear, "while salt intake is indeed a factor, it's rarely the sole culprit behind hypertension. It's a piece, not the whole puzzle." Arthur shifted in his seat, a flicker of surprise crossing his face, a hint of doubt. "Many other elements play far more significant roles," she continued, her gaze steady. "Things like chronic stress, the quality of your sleep, and a truly balanced diet. It's not just about what you exclude, but what you consciously include in your daily life." She explained that proper nutrient ratios, often overlooked, were crucial for cellular health. Arthur had always focused on restriction, not enrichment, a realization dawning on him. The doctor then introduced him to the concept of holistic health, a complete paradigm shift. It was a revelation, a paradigm shift from his narrow, myth-driven perspective, a new way of seeing. She emphasized the importance of regular, moderate exercise, not just strenuous, high-impact workouts. Even a brisk 30-minute walk daily can make a profound difference, she advised, her words resonating. Next, she spoke of mindfulness techniques, the power of the present moment. Learning to manage stress, to truly relax, can lower your blood pressure more effectively than any single supplement, she explained, her voice filled with conviction. She suggested simple breathing exercises and short meditation practices, practical tools for daily life. Arthur, who had always dismissed such things as New Age fluff, found himself intrigued. A spark ignited. Finally, she delved into diet, but with a different emphasis, focusing on what to embrace. Instead of just being low in sodium, your diet should be rich in potassium and magnesium. She listed foods like leafy greens, bananas, avocados, nuts and seeds, a vibrant array. This expert advice was a revelation, a breath of fresh air after years of self-imposed dietary prisons. It shifted Arthur's focus from restrictive myths to a comprehensive, evidence-based approach to well-being. He realized his anxiety about food, his constant vigilance, had been counterproductive. Dr. Vance wasn't just offering control, she was promising a healthier, less anxious life, a true liberation, a life where food could be enjoyed and health was a journey of balance, not deprivation. Arthur left the consultation feeling a lightness he hadn't experienced in years, a burden lifted. The dread had begun to recede, replaced by a nascent sense of hope, a quiet optimism. He had a new path, one guided by science and holistic well-being, a clearer direction. The journey ahead seemed less daunting, more empowering, filled with possibilities. He was no longer just avoiding, but actively building health, brick by healthy brick. The doctor's words echoed in his mind. It's about nurturing your whole self, body and mind. Arthur felt a renewed sense of purpose, a genuine belief in a healthier future within his grasp. The first step, he knew, was to embrace this new understanding, to truly internalize it, to let go of the old myths and welcome a more expansive view of wellness, a broader horizon. His journey to unraveling hypertension myths had truly begun, a transformative process. He looked forward to his next appointment, eager to learn more, to absorb every insight. The prospect of medication, once dreaded, now seemed a distant, less certain outcome, a fading fear. He had found not just a doctor, but a guide, a mentor on this new path, someone who saw beyond the numbers, to the person behind them, to his true potential. This was the beginning of a profound transformation, a deep-seated change, a shift from fear-driven habits to informed, conscious choices, empowering and liberating. Arthur felt a quiet excitement, a sense of liberation, a freedom he hadn't known. The path to better health was clearer now, illuminated by knowledge and compassion. It wasn't about quick fixes, but sustainable, mindful living, a lifelong commitment. He was ready to embrace it fully with an open heart and a determined spirit. The future, once clouded, now held the promise of clarity and well-being, a brighter tomorrow. His journey had just taken a crucial, positive turn, a pivotal moment. A new chapter, filled with hope and genuine understanding, had begun, full of promise. Arthur walked out, a lighter man, ready to rewrite his health story.